we are live, and I want to do the introduction, and then I'm going to introduce our special guest. I would like to welcome you, those of you who are here from Facebook, Bruce Smirnoff's friends and fans. Thank you for coming in. Come in, have a seat, sit close together here. It's okay. Nothing goes viral near me. Also, those of my fans, welcome, come in, sit down. You guys can sit. It's not like a wedding ceremony. You can intermingle too. It's all right. So Comic Spot is where this little Army veteran gets to vet out veterans of comedy. And you have one here before you today, as sure as he has kitty cats walking around. We have Bruce Smirnoff here today. 45-year veteran of the comedy world, knows how to salute. Are you ex-military?
I'm ex-nothing. I'm ex-cleaning maid. That's it. Nice to be on someone else's show. They have me hosting all these other podcasts, and it's great to just sit back, be with a friendly face, someone I've never met before, and talk about comedy.
There we go. And your bio that you sent me, the intro, it says, he's been doing stand-up comedy for 45 years. As I said, he saw so much and accomplished so very little. And he's a story. Correct? Am I correct?
I have literally nothing to show for 45 years in show business.
You have the most cats and a purple shirt.
Yeah, and a purple shirt with a purple ring. Yes.
I love purple.
I know how to dress, not too good with the career.
It reminds me of something Wendy Liebman said, that she's into like the things like like feely, touchy things, because the money thing hasn't worked out.
I think she's done very well for herself. I would call her a star, Wendy.
Thank you. Right?
Yeah.
I adore her style of comedy. That's the person that I aspired to be like in comedy. It says here, as to the above intro, my stories are what I'm known for. So that will be the focus of this interview, you guys.
Sure.
And the stories are part of a one-man show. Other than my health, I have nothing is one of his one-man shows. And today I don't feel so good, which was performed throughout the US and Canada for 5 years. Throw your cell phone away.
Just to clear that up, that's only one show. That's the title. Other than my health, I have nothing. And today I don't feel so good. It's kind of like a punchline on the title. So only one show. And yes, it went for 5 years. And it went to a couple of festivals, performed a lot in Los Angeles. I used to make sure I had it in like 50-seat theaters. And I used to pack it each time. And thank God, people left very satisfied. And I did it to try to get myself involved in a sitcom. And it didn't happen, but I got close. But close doesn't count in show business.
Oh, man. Tell me some of the high points in your career.
Well, the whole idea of this show was to only focus on my low points. I have no high points. If I had high points, I don't think I'd be sitting here with you. I would be immersed in something, but I wouldn't be doing people's podcasts. I enjoy doing it, but I wouldn't be this available. What happened in a nutshell, Linda, is I moved to Los Angeles very young. I'm not tooting my own horn. I just have an interesting look, and it works for comedy with a face like this. So I moved to LA, totally inexperienced. But because of my looks, I was given a lot of opportunity right out of the gate. And because I didn't know how to act, and I had an attitude where I got this covered, I know what I'm doing, I didn't realize that doing stand-up and acting were two different things. So I had a lot of opportunity. It just kind of fell through my hands. And the show is all about my stories, because these horrific stories all happened with America's icons, Carol O'Connor, Johnny Carson, just to name a few. Well, those are the two big disasters I had in my life. And early on, so I kind of knew at the beginning of my career that, well, actually I didn't know. I just, it was over, but I didn't realize it until about 25, 30 years later. But It's a really funny show, and it is available on YouTube. You can watch it, you can download it, or whatever. You don't download, you just go and watch it. It's very funny. One of the things I'm very proud of.
So the show that you went and performed around the country for 5 years, people can go watch it for free on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't mean anything to me anymore. You can watch it, no money, just watch it, just enjoy it.
What's the name of your YouTube channel?
What's the name of the YouTube channel? I don't have a YouTube channel. You just type in like Bruce Smirnoff One Man Show. It'll take you to it. And
wonderful.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write?
Seriously, do you know how many people that are watching this, if there's anybody watching this right now, are going to go to YouTube and watch that show? The answer is 0. It's 0. I don't think anyone's watching this, and I don't. Oh, you? Okay, you. You'll enjoy it. You really will. You'll get an idea of where I came from and all about me. But that show is already. That's like 1995 to 2000. We're talking 20 years later, and I don't even live in Los Angeles anymore. I live in Delray Beach, Florida. This is really pathetic. I live in a 55 and over community. I have a job with an agency, a booking agency, and we book the cruise ships, which, as you know, are full swing right now. Ships are sailing all over the world, absolutely nobody on them, but they're sailing, and I have no job right now. But once the pandemic ends, and we will get back. I work for a Don Casino agency, and we are one of the premier cruise ship agencies in the world. And when you take a cruise and you watch the show, the chances are we have had something to do with booking, I would say, over 35-40% of the talent that you see on the ships.
Holy Toledo. I had no idea that you did that.
I didn't either. I make shit up. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Next, I'll tell you, I have superhuman powers. I just go with it. Big thunderstorm going on here, Linda, right now as we speak. We had one on Monday. It was so severe. And like a schmuck, I'm making YouTube videos out of the front of my door, showing everybody what a storm it is, and what's called a believe it's called a mini cyclone hit my home, and it uprooted all these trees in my backyard. But the real bad thing was it caused what you always hear about, a power surge, and it exploded my air conditioner. And I only got my that was Monday. I only got my air conditioning back today. So I am so happy right now. But for about three and a half days, I was one unhappy character. It got to be 87 degrees in my home, and it's now 77. 77 is fine. Could even be 78, 79. I'm okay with. But when you tick it up 10 degrees, it's like a torture chamber, and that's what I've been involved with. So I'm very happy that I got my AC back. But now it's pouring again, and who knows? I think lightning only strikes once, so I'm lucky.
Wow, what a story! You weren't outside with your keys or anything, right?
No, I was in the house. I had the screen doors open, and I was shooting it. If you go to my Facebook page,
I saw it.
And it's pouring rain, but then all of a sudden, and I even remarked, "Wow, this is pretty amazing." And like a moron, at that moment, these giant ficus trees are like coming down onto the house. Didn't do any damage, but the power surge because a lightning bolt hit, and that was the end of the air conditioning. Boom. So.
Oh my goodness sakes. So that's as close as you want to get to AC/DC or the band.
Correct.
Where can you go with that?
Yeah.
So my main question about you in Delray Beach, living in that community, is, did your parents sign to get you in it?
No, I'm 60. I'm going to be 64 years old, so I'm entitled to live in this place. I'm a bit youngish thinking for the people who live here. Like about 4 weeks ago, these people are locked in. These people are elderly people. They're very nice people. But they're significantly older than me. One day I'll be there too, so I'm not disparaging them. But they are Jewish people with the paranoia that they are getting COVID, not even 19, they're getting COVID 23 because they're Jews and they have to get everything bigger than the other person. So when they found out that about a month ago I had performed with Craig Shoemaker at the Improv down here, we did like 5 shows live, high-fiving people, holding the microphone, kissing the girls, all that. A pariah doesn't describe what I have become here. These people that usually like to come over and talk to me, they stand like 100 feet, and it's almost 6 weeks now. So it's 2 weeks is the time to quarantine. It's 6, and they won't talk to me. And if they could talk to me in a helicopter, they would prefer to do that. That's how nutty they are. So I've lost touch with all my neighbors. It's still a nice place. I like it here.
If you need to borrow sugar, you're just going to be SOL, aren't you?
Well, I also cook. I started baking. That's the other thing that happened. I started to bake so much that I blew out my oven. I blew out my oven a week before I blew out the air conditioning. And to try to get a repairman down here, the AC people were okay, but to get an oven, see, all these people live here. They all have ovens, but nobody cooks. Everyone goes out to eat because they're elderly. They don't want to cook. They cooked for the children 100 years. Now they're not. But with this pandemic, everyone is using the stoves, and everyone like me is blowing the stoves up, and you cannot get, I called GE. They don't even take phone calls anymore. You have to do everything online, and and the appointment was 3 weeks in advance. And then the day comes and the repairman texts you like every hour. I'll be there between 12 and 1. I'll be there 1 to 2. I'll be there 3 to 4. After 4, this idiot never even texted me back. He just like, they wrote me off. It's like, they don't give a shit because they have so much work. They don't care. So then all I could get, nice guy, no speak of the English, not a problem. He came, nice truck, very clean cut guy. He looked at the situation and he had to order the part. But I don't know what stops the US mail. The part hasn't arrived yet. It's just all they have to do is send me a part like this big, but somehow the mail is affected. So now he is coming tonight. So it is conceivable that at the end of this show, when I wait 1 hour, Mr. Hernandez is coming with the stove part, and I will have both AC and cooking again. Now that brings me back to the beginning of the story where I agree, because you said they won't borrow a cup of sugar. Whoa, is that lightning and thunder going on? I learned how to cook. Not well, but I learned how to cook. And I make all the goodies for all my neighbors.
Wow.
Because I just like to make stuff, and I've learned how to make lots of pastries, lots of cookies and brownies and things, and banana cake.
No, that's wonderful. I bet they love you.
Wait, hold on. Is anybody awake watching this? I am monitoring. Comedians do self-monitoring. This is maybe the most boring interview. Not your problem, my problem. I'm going off on the most inane, moronic things that have nothing to do with show business because I have nothing to do with show business. And I don't even know why you had me on this show. Somehow you felt that this would enhance your visibility on Facebook. You will probably lose, I would say, 93% of your following after this idiotic interview. But go ahead, ask another question.
What's it like to be in charge of cruise ship comedy?
It's interesting because I perform on the cruise ships too. I don't presently, obviously, but a lot of these guys that I've known for years, it's my job to get them work. And I love it. I love doing it. But at the same time, there's a lot of great comedians that aren't right for cruise ships, because cruise ships, you get judged after every show. People write comments. And if you are edgy, if you press or push the envelope, you do anything that's not like in a corporate way, you get fired. So I have to view some of my dearest friends that I think are incredibly funnier than other people, but I don't think I have to decide whether I think they'll be right for a ship. I bring that to my bosses, we discuss it, and then we move on. And most of my choices have been good. And I will say that there's probably a few guys that I was friends with that I tell them you know, I don't see how your act might work on a ship. So if there are difficult moments like that, but that not many. And again, the opposite side, of being able to get people work, is just it's a pleasure for me. And you want to know why? Because I can't do it anymore. If I wanted the ships, I wouldn't book anybody on them. I book myself. But you go back shit crazy on these cruise ships, and I lost it. I started going like in '07, and I think I lost my mind about 2010, because you're talking about 25 weeks a year on these ships, flying around the world with the word, like if you need to get to China, first they fly you to Russia, then they fly you back to like Burbank, then they fly you to China because they found the nickel that they saved on the airfare. And it beats you up so badly when you get to, it's just a crazy life. It's great. And then when you do a show, if you don't do well, you get fired. It's that simple. There's no, we'll cut you some slack this time. I did a show, my first show, these cruise people saw me, and they put me on a very elegant ship up in Alaska, and high end.
I'm trying to imagine what an elegant ship looks like.
Oh, they're 5-star, Regent Mariner, phenomenal ship, still cruising. Are we running out of time, or have I got time to tell you the story?
Oh, you can go for an hour.
So they gave me a 21-week contract, not in a row, but for the year. And it's this particular week are funeral directors, okay? Charter cruise. Hey, they're not very energetic people. They are, you know, they are exactly their job. And I get introduced, and I'm very nervous because this is my first time performing on a ship. And as the MC is not on stage, he's up in the sound booth and he's welcoming everybody. What's going on in reality, in real time, is someone is having a heart attack and they've collapsed right in the center of everything. So everyone sees the person collapsed, and I see the person collapse. So I think they're going to hold the show, but the cruise director doesn't see the collapsed person. So he introduces me, and I walk out on stage, and I see all these people, they're beating on this guy's chest, and I'm a comedian. I don't know what, and then my microphone is cut off with the ship's alarm, code blue in the showroom. And then that goes off, and I'm just watching this, and this never happened to me before. And I looked at the audience and I said, looks like someone's going to get a little extra work this week. And it was improper to say. It was very funny, but not the right thing to say. And then on top of it, I froze. And then I said, hey, look at the bright side. You'll be able to write this trip off as a tax deduction. Again, those are two very funny lines, but they're not appropriate for a cruise setting. And I was promptly, I cleared the room out. I mean, it was like rows of corn, up, out, next joke, up, out. And I must have had 350 people by the end of my show. I had 9 people, Jewish people, that felt sorry for me. That's all I had left. And then they fired me. And then I told the story to my agent. At the time, I wasn't working for the agency. They were just my agent. And they started laughing. So they said, that really sounds like a weird situation. So then they called the vice president of the company up. And I told him the story, and the guy dropped the phone. He was laughing so hard. And he goes, okay, you're back on. And that was it. And then I never again. Now, since that happened, this is why I'm so divorced from show business. Because when you're living in Hollywood, you got young, vital people. You don't have to worry about people dropping dead. I've had 3 other shows now where people have taken dives, dropped dead, go into cardiac arrest. So now I know how to handle it. But who goes to the improv and you go, have you ever handled somebody dropping dead in the show? No. But this is what you learn when you're on cruise ships, how you deal with that.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So what has been a funny thing that a heckler has said that you've heard of?
Anything a heckler says is not funny. Let me tell you that, because you do stand up, correct?
Yes.
So you got your mind going, you're in your zone. Anything a heckler says, and usually not only is it bad, it could be really bad, and then it throws you off. So There's never been anything good a heckler has. I've had some, I don't get heckled that much. And my character on stage is like a schmuck. So it's like everything happens to me, you know, with this look on my face. So if I get heckled, I can't switch gears and go, hey, you blankety blanket, blah, 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 blah. I can't do that. My demeanor would shift and the audience would go, where did this come from? Who is this guy? So I've had a couple, I mean, I've had my heckler, like maybe 4 times in my life, and it was bad. But I'm not a heckle. People don't heckle me. What I do is I make fun of myself so I don't antagonize people. That leads to people wanting to heckle me. So I hope that answers your question. I don't really.
It does. It really does. Yeah. So what do you have? Like, do you have a lot of irons in the fire while you're on COVID out time?
Irons in the fire. I'm sitting here kissing the ass of an air conditioning guy that had a stutter. I'm waiting now for a Mexican guy who doesn't speak English. These are the most important people in my life right now. And you're asking me, what have I got irons in the fire? I think you need to go to a mental institution and tell them what you just told me, because there's nothing going on. There's nothing. And that's a shame, because these entertainers that aren't working now, forget the stars. The stars are cool. They're great. They've made it. They got millions. If they haven't put it up their nose or gotten divorced, they're set. But these entertainers that are friends of mine, these guys, you know, they're hurting. And it's just, I hear, I mean, you know, I don't, you know what? I'm not going there, because I have nothing positive to say and I don't want to be negative. But right. This is a very difficult situation. And because people are behaving in such a scared way, we may be the last thing to get entertainers. I'm hearing stories, they want to do Broadway shows and put plexiglass between the performers and the audience. Oh, that's real personal. And then if everybody's wearing and plexiglass, what if you're a comedian and you tell a joke through the all right, so the speaker comes over the plexiglass, but your audience, how is that gonna, you know, how is that gonna, anyway, don't want to get negative, don't want to go there. This will pass. This is just that we're in the middle of something that, you know, we probably in our lifetimes, oh, there's
wow.
And we're in something that, air conditioning, stay on. And hopefully we will get through this. I mean, you have to be positive, because this is, we've had situations like this, but not in our lifetime. So everything seems more scary. And then with the lightning and the thunder, even more scary.
Yes. You said that I go to a mental
on a 1 to 5, how am I rating right now as a guest? Am I in the upper 4s?
You're in the 4s until you said I should go to a mental institution for
I'll drive you there. I'll drive you there. I'll pay for Uber.
I have another question, God forbid. Okay, so a lot of artists have a lot of irons in the fire. They're writing a screenplay. You have a one-man show. You've done comedy for 45 years. Are you working on anything because of being
I told you that. Over. OVER. I'm retired. I'm lucky I have the part-time job. I have worked the condominium circuit down here. And I'll tell you something. You know what's interesting? The ships make you really good, because you get fired if you're no good. And these condominiums are very interesting because the audience is 100% the same. There's homogenous, which means a mixture of everything, right? And homogenous is one, hetero is many, anyway, I don't want to say the word homo because that's bad word, but homogeneous, these audiences are all the same. They're all Jews that are from a 25-mile radius. This is how clannish Jewish people are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, and they all live here. So even though they're individuals, they think with one mind, and they are a very tough audience until you learn how to work them. And then once you learn how to work them, They are the greatest. Every show I do down here, because I've learned from these people, the Jewish people and the cruise ship people, very difficult, two different horrible audiences. But when you learn how to manage them, I've never been funnier. It's not doing me any good, but I've never been this funny before. And it's just a waste of everything. If I had the level I'm at now when I was 22, again, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I'd be in Beverly Hills and I wouldn't be taking your call. But
One
it ain't
last,
happening.
since you are taking my call, I have one last question.
Okay. You're
So
very fun to work with. I could talk to you for hours.
you can't offend me. I'm so beyond being offended.
Hopefully they have high-speed internet at the mental institution. You can get right on and stay on all the time. What's your question?
My question is, since you're very young, you're at the young end of the spectrum where you live. Are there a lot of Jewish cougars these days?
A lot of what?
Jewish cougars.
Oh,
Women.
no. Now there are a lot of single women here, but they're significantly older than me. But I stay in shape. I just bought a spin cycle. I'm going absolutely bananas on my spin cycle. I should be dead in a week, and I don't have to worry about the cougars. I just have to worry about what size coffin they're going to put me in, because I can't stop spinning. And you shouldn't be getting your heart rate at this rate when you're 64 years old. Oh my God, is it raining? Holy mackerel.
Are you going to hold up your cats so everybody can see?
I mean, if I got to go and get them, so then you won't see anything. If they come near me, I'll swoop them up.
All right.
That's another thing. I never had an animal all these years because I've always been on the road and career first. So I have 2 cats, and I love them. And it's exciting to be a pet owner. Now I understand why people with pets, fall in love and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I have a weakness, like I fall in love with the apartment I'm in. I name my cockroaches and stuff, so pets. Yeah. I talk to my pets like they're humans. Do you do that with your cats?
Of course, we watch pet rescue videos together. And I keep looking at them going, look what could happen to you. You better be nice to me, or you're going to be one of these cats in the video soon. And then they don't miss the litter box. They're very obedient and they do the right thing.
Guess what I'm going to do today when I get off watching this?
Where are you? Are you in Vegas? Is that where you are?
Yes.
I'll tell you where you're going to be. You're going to be indoors. That's whatever you do, it'll be done indoors there.
Yeah. I'm going to watch your YouTube one-man show.
I can do better things to do in life, but yes, you should get a couple of good laughs out of it.
I'm going to watch it at 5:00 Pacific today. And if you're not a good boy, I'll put it on a watch party on Facebook.
Hey, let me tell you something again. This show from beginning to end is perfect. And I dare anybody watch it. I'll tell you what, there's so many other things in the world to do, but anyone who watches it, you give me any criticism on it, I'd be very curious to hear. I mean, this was like, what happened was it just came too late in my career and nothing happened from it. But the show's really funny. And I don't brag about myself, only that show, because it's all real and it's all true. And I absorbed a lot of hits in my life to be able to deliver these stories and to admit what a failure I had been, but in a very funny way, and to admit my shortcomings. And unfortunately, these happened with some of the biggest names in show business. So it is interesting, and I think you'll like it.
I will, because I have almost 7 decades of stuff that's happened, and I haven't yet figured out how to make people want to listen to it and laugh.
You look so young. I can't imagine you've been around for 7 decades.
69. I just turned 69.
Oh, wonderful. You look great. You should come down here, and you won't get anything, but like all the other women, you'll just have friends. You know what's funny here? The women, when you go to these communities, there's the single women, and then there's the women that are still married, that still have their husbands. And it forms like a caste system, because when women go to the show or they go to the club for activities, the single women all go with a bunch of girls, and the married women, they sit there and they look like, look, I got a husband, you got nothing. Look at me. The husband's like on oxygen with the spots up and down the arm. He could drop dead at any moment, but because he's still taking in oxygen, that puts them in a superior level to the other women there. It's these people are well, they're like you. They're nuts. They're crazy. They're nice, they're great people, and they are the best audience you could ever possibly want once you learn how to crack the code. Yeah.
What's one key for that particular kind of audience? What's the one?
It's funny. You just have to be. You can't be dirty. You can't do off color. I once did a joke. Like in the first 2 years that I was here, I was just starting to really get it. And I did a joke. What was the joke? I said my grandmother had Lou Gehrig's disease and Alzheimer's disease. She swears she hit 100 home runs, but she never remembered when. And I know that's a great joke. But I lost the crowd. I had them for like 15 minutes. And because these people are homogenous, they all turn on. They either turn on to you together or they turn off. So I'm like looking at them, and it was all signs, and I went, I just need to stop my show for one moment. I'm recognizing that the joke I just did probably offended many people in the room. And the whole audience, they're all there with the Jewish nod on the head. And I said, I want to apologize. Aww. Now may I continue my act? And they all give me the thing. And then it picked right up, like within a joke or two. But that's how you have to learn. You can't be, and yet it's strange. It's hard to describe, but because they think as one, you have to be in their wheelhouse. They don't like, and it's nothing personal, they don't like waspy type comedians that just kind of like, and then what that's like, they like what I call huff and puffers, or they like shtickers, like I do shtick, but they like Italian comedians down here because these Italian guys, you can see them. There's so many funny Italian comics there. They started, and the wife told me, I said, what are you going to do? And then they start huff and puff, and they go to levels of screaming. And the Jews love that because they were raised, as I said, all in the same areas. And they remember the Italian kids that they were brought up with. And they get a kick out of that too.
Wow. One of the greatest joys of my life, I know you're not big on joy, but I get it. But one of the biggest things that I got to do in my life is my mom was in a Jewish nursing home, and we had a rocky relationship. It was all her fault. And then when she passed, I realized, oh, wait a minute, maybe not. And so I wanted to get rid of the Jewish guilt I had. So I went there and said, can I do comedy here every week? And so I did comedy at her place to get rid of my guilt, and it worked.
I used to visit. In my family, unfortunately, Alzheimer's runs in my family. So I used to visit when I would come down here. I had an Aunt Lil, and she was in one of these places that you're describing. And I would go to visit her. And I mean, you have to put your mind, you have to go into comedy zone because you'll flip out so my aunt used to just sit there with a handbag, lipstick on, and you would just sit there with her and you'd look at her and go, how you doing, Aunt Lil? And she'd just go, I have no money. Or, and you got plenty of money. I have no money. And this was her sentence. If you remember, these people all have like one sentence. So the day I go to visit her, they're taking them into the rec room for like a little party action. It's a Friday. So the staff dresses up like the Keystone Cops with the cop hats, and they're wearing those big old-fashioned mustaches. And they put my Aunt Lil next to this guy, Eddie Schless, and his one sentence is, I'm Jewish, help me. And then on the other side is someone with bright orange hair. I guess even though she was so old, they used to dye her hair for her. And her thing was, she was so whacked out, they had her, this is so sad. They had her arms tied to the wheelchair because there was something that she would do. Obviously, if her arms weren't tied down. And she had a big smile on her face, even though she was tied into a chair. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling this story. And she would look at me and go, I'm having the time of my life. So I had these three people sitting there, I'm having the time of my life. And I have no money. And the other guy, I'm Jewish, help me. And it was just going on. It was like a parrot show. I'm having the time of my life. I have no money. I'm Jewish, help me. And then I remember the Keystone Cops, they took, as like a snack, they took Chips Ahoy cookies with the yellow, not Cheezo, but the vanilla, the yellow icing. And they made Happy Face on the Chips Ahoy cookies. And they come up to the man next to my aunt, and they go, Mr. Schless, would you like a cookie? And he just goes, get in cookies, and he kicks her, and the cookies are flying over. And then my aunt said, I have no money. I'm having the time of my life. And that's all I remember. So I'm sure your mom was involved in something like that. Oh, God bless these people. That was like 30 years ago. Wow.
Crazy, crazy times. You've been so kind to come on here and sit with me, Bruce Smirnoff. And I'll be checking into the closest mental institution before sundown on the Sabbath. Thank you so much. I loved getting to know you.
Getting to know you was wonderful too. Bye-bye, sweetie.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody's talking at the comic spot. The comic spot.